I now recognize Mr. Sidi Omar of the Frente Polisario. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you for giving me the possibility of addressing the Special Committee on behalf of the Polisario Front, the legitimate representative of the people in the autonomous territory of Western Sahara in accordance with the relevant resolutions of the General Assembly.
Representatives and delegates from member states. Western Sahara has been on the agenda of the Special Committee since 1963 as a non-self-governing territory whose people have an inalienable right to self-determination and independence, in line with relevant General Assembly resolutions. Madam Chair, we have heard and will probably hear more of the statements that all aim to present a completely distorted and misleading account of the legal and political nature of the question of Western Sahara. It's therefore pertinent to set the record straight, based on facts drawn from none other than the United Nations itself and its resolution in this matter. I'll underline only 3 facts, and I would invite everybody present here or elsewhere to present any evidence to the contrary. First, the United Nations does not recognize any sovereignty for Morocco over Western Sahara. Second, Morocco is not listed as an administering power of the territory. So, if Morocco does not have any internationally recognized sovereignty over Western Sahara, and it's not exercising any administering power over the territory, so what then is the Morocco's presence of Western Sahara? The answer is very clear, and those who do not know it should look for it in the United Nations resolutions, particularly Resolution 34/37 of 21st of November 1979, and Resolution 35/19 of 11 November 1980, whereby the General Assembly deeply deplored, and I quote, the aggravation of the situation resulting from the continued occupation of Western Sahara by Morocco, end of quotation. Morocco, therefore, is an occupying power of Western Sahara, and this is the third fact, demonstrated by the United Nations resolutions that I have just cited. As part of the misleading account repeatedly propagated by Morocco, here and elsewhere, is that the decolonization of Western Sahara was carried out through an agreement with Spain, the former colonial power, in 1975. The strong piece of their evidence is that the agreement has been taken note of by the United Nations. Let's now recall what the United Nations legal authority really says on the matter. In paragraph 6 of his legal opinion issued on 12 February 2002, the Undersecretary General for Legal Affairs, the Legal Council, underlined the following, and I quote, "The Madrid Agreement did not transfer sovereignty over the territory, nor did it confer upon any of these signatories the status of an administering power. The transfer of administrative authority over the territory to Morocco and Mauritania in 1975 did not affect the international status of Western Sahara as a non-self-governing territory." End of quotation. In view of all these facts, what exactly does Morocco want you and everybody else to recognize and accept once for all? Apart from the unfounded claims and the fairy tales, some of which we have already heard, that we are used to hear here and elsewhere from Moroccan diplomats and some other, regarding this matter, is that simply, what I'm trying to tell you, is that the whole world, what the whole world should know when it comes to Western Sahara is that what matters is that might makes right. In other words, what Morocco seeks is that the United Nations recognize its illegal sovereignty over Western Sahara, the United Nations itself that has already said clearly that it doesn't recognize, and also to recognize its illegal and forcible annexation of parts of Western Sahara, which the United Nations itself has already deeply deplored and have already mentioned. So the question now before this committee is very simple. Do we allow the rule of might makes right to prevail in the case of Western Sahara, or do we uphold the principles of international legality and resolutions of the United Nations in this matter? Well, if might makes right would be adopted, many countries, members of this committee, and the United Nations itself will not be free from colonial domination. So the way forward is very simple. Morocco is an occupying power, and the United Nations and the international community should make it very clear to Morocco there is no place for colonial powers in the 21st century, and then to make and put in place the necessary measures to allow the people of Western Sahara to exercise freely and democratically their inalienable right to self-determination and independence in line with relevant United Nations resolutions. I do not, Madam Chair, I don't think that this is too much to ask from a committee that was established by the General Assembly to eradicate colonialism in all its forms and manifestations. Muchísimas gracias.
I thank Mr. Omar for his statement. You may now withdraw. I now give the floor to Mr. Naima Sagahe. You have the floor. Mr. Sagahe, if you can turn on your light so they know which mic to turn on. Wonderful. You may proceed.
شكرا لكم لإتاحة فرصة الحديث أمام لجنتكم.
Thank you for allowing us to address your August committee. In the occupied territories of the Democratic Sahrawi Republic, I talk to you on behalf of the Sahrawi youth who were victims of the illegal occupation of Morocco, those who died under torture, and those who had to flee on the sea to escape the torture, in addition to the thousands who suffer racial discrimination and unemployment. The shocking reality that your committee should know is that several members of the Sahrawi families do not know the destiny of the hundreds who have been abducted over 40 years inside the Moroccan, the Sahrawi. And instead of implementing the international plan to solve the problem of the Western Sahara by releasing political detainees, political detention has not ceased until now. 2 weeks ago only, in the occupied city of Samara, the oppressive forces of Morocco has arrested many people after torturing them. Walid al-Batal, Salih Abdi Mubarak. Those Sahari youth were going to visit a political detainee, Salah Abu Qsair, who has served the term of imprisonment that was imposed on him, in addition to other political detainees in the prisons of the occupation. The Shahid al-Wali and Yahya Muhammad al-Hafiz, those our youth of late have been suffering physical liquidation, and detention is in the first place rejected, and it's an international crime. The exercise of violence by the organs of could be accepted when conducted in a legal manner under judicial supervision. However, the repeated aggression against our people that are carried in the dark is characteristics of gangs. This is rejected, and in order to stifle the voice of our Sahrawi people, yet our struggle for freedom continued. The violation of human rights in Western Sahara is a result of the illegal occupying power of Morocco. This occupation will no doubt vanish one day. The United Nations is required to expand the mandate of MINURSO to follow the human rights aspect in the tense. We call on your committee to send a fact-finding mission as you have done before. The United Nations is today, more than any other time, required to complete the plan to give the people of Western Sahara the right to independence and self-determination. Madam Chair, we thank you for the floor.
I thank Mrs. Haihe for his statement. The Secretariat has informed me there are 4 delegations that are on the list who have not collected their UN passes. I'm going to call out your name. If you are here, please turn on the mic in front of you so you may get the floor. If not, I move on to the next name on the list. Mr. Grimish Sharif. Mr. Ahmed Nafal. Mr. Jadan Ahmed. Mr. Mohammed Ali Arkuku. I now give the floor to Mr. Andres Eduardo Rodriguez Martinez.
Sí. Muchísimas gracias, Presidenta.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Distinguished Chair and Secretary of the Committee, delegations, special guests. On behalf of the International Committee of Students, greetings. The issue of the Western Sahara raises great interest in the student community on the international level. Students at this time wonder how it is possible that after so many years, so many decades, the situation of the Western Sahara has not yet been resolved. Medical students, engineering students, even students of natural sciences, as well as the law students or international law students, also ask themselves how long the economic principles will be set above human rights. We have territory, we have population, we even have political organization. So, why have we not applied what a state needs for its own self-determination? In this particular case, it was given the name of MINURSO, but it is simply a consultative referendum for a population to determine the way in which it wishes to be governed. I'm grateful for the presence of all the member states of this committee. And I must note, nevertheless, that we are here in order to prevent an armed conflict, since the reason this committee exists is to give a diplomatic, a political solution to such conflicts. But we must avoid using these mechanisms of the United Nations as bureaucratic channels in order to avoid reaching the resolution of the situation not only of the Western Sahara, but of all of the countries that need for their status to be resolved at present. Given the humanitarian situation, our committee, the International Students Committee, which has offices in the following countries: the United Kingdom, Spain, Venezuela, Colombia, Italy, France, Ecuador, the United States, and Chile. We have decided to finance the studies, the university courses of students, of young people from the Western Sahara who at present have seen their human right to education being violated. It is time to train the coming generation, since if those of you who are sitting in these spaces do not achieve an effective solution preventing the death of even more people, as well as the imprisonment of innocent people who are only asking for freedom to choose, then we, the coming generation, will be those who will take specific measures in the future, which I assure you is almost upon us, a future which is very close to us. Let me conclude by thanking you for having listened to me today. Thank you very much.
I thank Mr. Rodriguez Martinez for his statement. You may now withdraw.